Evil spirits sometimes lie in wait, lurking for a chance to appear, and if accidentally provoked, they can unleash pure terror.
Lisa's Cursed Farmhouse, Story 23, Take 1.
I was about 8 years old when we moved into the farmhouse. I was excited about it until we started going to school. People would say, oh, you live in that haunted house, you live in that scary house. I would notice stuff was just never where you put it.
Can't find my hammer. Any ideas?
Whether it was a hammer or a screwdriver, a shovel, pitchfork, just anything.
Play with my tools again?
So it was always who touched them and who did what with them. We would always say, not me, not me.
Are you sure?
My dad would say, well, who did it then? And we started saying, well, Emily did it. And I don't know where that name came from. It was just, well, Emily did it.
The strange activity could not be explained, and soon Emily became more than just a name.
One time, my friend and I saw a little girl in the upstairs window. The little girl had dark hair, and she had a white dress on. And that made me feel like Emily was really there. I don't think that she was threatening. I think, if anything, she was sad and playful, that she wanted to play more. Everything that happened was odd and strange. It was not menacing or evil or anything like that.
But by uttering Emily's name out loud, Lisa had inadvertently provoked the spirit.
The basement is the one place in the house that I didn't really like to hang out for long periods of time. Sometimes you would feel like out of the corner of your eye, you might see something moving and you look and it would be nothing.
There was a reason for the creepy feeling.
And my dad said that he had heard that there was someone that hung themselves in the basement.
And the basement held more terrors in store.
Our dog, Buffy, had puppies, and it was colder. So we brought Buffy and her puppies, put her in the basement so they wouldn't be out in the cold. One of Buffy's puppies ended up in the sump pump and drowned.
Mom!
The sump pump actually had a room around it, a little door that we usually always kept closed. So it was just really bizarre that the puppy ended up in the sump pump basin and drowned. It's almost like, who did it? It wouldn't be something that it would seem that Emily would do.
That wasn't the only troubling and unexplained animal death.
And then it just got creepier and creepier the more animals that we got. One of the horses that was being boarded, it was Tony the pony, a black and white pony. I went out to feed them in the morning before school,
Lisa Norris and her family were experiencing strange activity at their farm after accidentally provoking a spirit by calling its name. And it had only escalated, resulting in the terrifying deaths of their beloved pets.
One of the horses that was being boarded, it was Tony the pony, a black and white pony. I went out to feed them in the morning before school. And Tony the pony was on the ground, and I couldn't get him to get up. And, I went screaming, and he was dead. It was really frightening for me because how did he die? We don't know.
When animals start to die, farm animals, pets, any animals on the property, usually that can be a sign of demonic entity.
The strange deaths were disturbing enough, but then Lisa's mother was affected as well, hearing voices calling out her name.
She kept on hearing, Judy, Judy. My mom thought it was my dad upstairs.
Charles!
And when she got upstairs, no one was up there. I think that she kind of thought that my dad was playing a trick on her or something, but then it would happen when he wasn't even at home. And I think over time it just kind of weared on her, like she didn't want to have to deal with this anymore.
Afraid of what might happen if they stayed in the home, the family decided to move out, though not everyone was happy about the decision.
My dad, I don't think, really wanted to leave the farm. He wanted to probably stay there, but, with my mom and how she was feeling, he wanted to make her feel more comfortable.
After moving out, the family's paranormal troubles stopped. Lisa didn't return to the old farmhouse for 30 years, but when her father passed away, she was overwhelmed by a strange desire to go back.
I contacted the city and found out that it had been vacant for a while. It was going up for tax auction, and so I registered for the tax auction and bought it.
Almost as soon as Lisa moved back in, the strange, old feelings returned.
I would feel the coldness. Sometimes I would feel like I saw things moving out of the corner of my eye. I didn't like to be by myself there. The basement did not feel good at all when I went back. It felt the same way. It felt claustrophobic. I'm not really sure what was scaring me so much, or if it was just like in my head. The idea of being there by myself, and because it is kind of isolated, that if I screamed, no one would hear me, that made me feel scared.
Frightened, Lisa contacted paranormal investigator Todd Bonner and his team.
Todd Bonner.
Hi, Lisa.
When Lisa reached out to me, I knew about the house because I grew up in the area. And so growing up as a kid, the house looked creepy. And so we always thought it was haunted. Our psychic, Annie, she immediately picked up Emily.
I see a little girl. She's wearing a white dress. Her name is Emily.
I never told Todd and Annie Emily's name. but they were able to tell me that she said her name was Emily.
I think she's in the basement.
Sometimes we've noticed that a malevolent spirit will take the form of a child or someone that can gain your trust and then kind of wreak havoc. It kind of concerned me that it might not be a little girl at all.
The team headed to the basement.
The feeling I got in the basement of the farm was almost like you're on a ship that's rocking. And I started getting anxiety. You know, all of us felt like a heaviness, a tension. I could feel my heart racing. And usually when we feel that way, or I feel that way, it's usually something negative. When you have a playful spirit, you don't feel that heaviness. It almost feels like it's hard to breathe. And then we start hearing things getting thrown in the kitchen, because the basement's right off the kitchen. You can hear things getting thrown. And then 1 second later, the smell started like a dead animal or something. It was just, it overwhelmed me. It was like a pungent smell of death. Annie was able to pick up that there was a suicide in the basement. It was a male, 30 years old, that had lived in the house. And that's when we heard a laugh, a male, it was a sinister laugh, like chuckle when she said there was suicide in the basement. We kind of realized we're probably not dealing with something that's pleasant to laugh at something like that.
Who are you? What do you want?
We asked, what's your name? How long have you been here? What's your purpose here? Can you tell us, are you sad, angry, or happy?
Stay, Todd. Really, we want you to stay. Stay, Todd.
It started to focus on me. It would say, Todd, we want you to stay. It didn't want me to leave.
What do you want with Todd?
And he said, Todd is not staying. Leave Todd alone. And then I got aggressive. Started using profanity, called Annie names, calling Annie evil. It was loud. It definitely knew what it wanted. And it wasn't afraid to say what it wanted. Didn't care what it said. And then Annie said she felt Emily. And you could see a figure that looked like a little girl.
After 30 years away, Lisa Norris had moved back to her childhood farmhouse. With the home still haunted, Lisa had called in outside help, but it only resulted in further provoking a horrifying entity.
I could feel it like on me, almost. Like it was, like my neck and back started hurting, and sickness I felt. I mean, I actually felt like throwing up. And then 1 second later, it was gone.
Come on, let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
What Todd told me is that he just couldn't take it anymore, that he just felt they should abort what they were doing, because he did not want it to escalate any further.
After such a terrifying encounter, the paranormal team would normally have conducted a cleanse. But Annie had picked up on one spirit that she knew Lisa would not want removed from the house.
Annie did also describe a man that was kind of gruff and sarcastic.
Does the name Chuck or Charles mean anything to you?
That's my dad. I want you to worry.
He's watching over you.
Lisa seemed more at ease, maybe thinking her father's there watching.
Todd and Annie said that because my dad had enjoyed living there and being with his family at that property, that's where his spirit would go to. That explained the reason why I was very drawn to go back to the house because of my dad. After Todd and Annie left, I felt more at peace. When I enter my house now, I don't have any kind of fear or anything like that, because even if there was an evil presence there, my dad is probably keeping it in check.